Could the Buffalo Sabres actually get better at the trade deadline? What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another video of Sports Talk Buffalo. The Buffalo Sabres once again find themselves near the bottom of the NHL standings as we approach the NHL trade deadline. Normally, this is the point where teams sell off their quality UFAs for draft capital and prospects, but the Buffalo Sabres could use the trade deadline to actually make the Buffalo Sabres better moving forward. As the season has played out, there have been several rumors surrounding multiple players for this Buffalo Sabres team, none bigger than young center Dylan Cozens. Now, Cozens has struggled mightily over the last 2 seasons after he had a career year that saw him score 68 points, a year that we thought was just the beginning for young Dylan Cozens. We thought that he would explode onto the scene and that the Sabres would have a 1-2 punch that would last us for years to come. However, it has not quite worked out that way, as Cozens has regressed in each of the last 2 seasons and simply looks like a shell of the player that we saw when he signed that 7-year contract for $7 million per season. It has been rumored that multiple teams are interested in Dylan Cozens and that they have contacted the Buffalo Sabres to see if they would be willing to put Cozens on the trade market just to kind of see where the Buffalo Sabres were with this young forward. Now, according to BleacherReport.com, the St. Louis Blues could also be shopping a top 6 forward in Jordan Kyrou. The Blues are on the fringe of the NHL playoff picture and could be looking to shake things up as we approach the trade deadline, and a deal between the St. Louis Blues and the Buffalo Sabres in this instance could make a lot of sense for both teams and could benefit both teams moving forward. For Buffalo, obviously, Jordan Kyrou would immediately fall into their top 6, giving them an offensive boost, and he could also help the Sabres' struggling power play, as even in this off year for Kyrou, he still has 6 power play goals for the St. Louis Blues. Kyrou is easily a top 6 forward for the Buffalo Sabres. He is also locked up for the next number of years as his contract ends, I believe, in 2030. Now, his contract is slightly more than Dylan Cozens. He makes an average of about $8.1 million per season. And at this point, even though he is having a little bit of a down year, he is only 26 years old. He could potentially bounce back and be exactly what the Buffalo Sabres need. Even in his down year, he is scoring more than Dylan Cozens. He would, again, be easily one of the Sabres' best forwards, and he would help boost the production of that top 6, especially since the Sabres are likely going to lose a player like Jason Zucker. This could help the Sabres now and into the future. Now, of course, it wouldn't be a 1-for-1 trade. Anybody who thinks that would be out of their mind. Dylan Cozens at this point is not worth anything near a Jordan Kyrou. However, it has been reported in that same article that I read that if the Sabres were to offer something in the neighborhood of Dylan Cozens, an A-plus prospect, something like a Kostas Helenius, and a second-round pick, that they could potentially get this deal done. And in my opinion, if you are really in a win-now mode, if you're really going to try to bolster this NHL roster, to try to take a run at the playoffs and end this ridiculous playoff drought that the Sabres are in. Obviously not this season, but next season. Adding somebody like a Jordan Kyrou, who is a near point per game player over the last few seasons, is an absolute no-brainer for this Buffalo Sabres team. Another player that the Sabres could potentially add, yes, I know he is a UFA. However, if the Sabres were to trade for him, it would give them first dibs on trying to get him signed before the season ended. And that forward is Trent Fredericks of the Boston Bruins. It is a name we all know well because most of us believe that it was the fight between Cousins and Fredericks that sent Cousins on the spiral down that we have seen over the last few seasons. I really like Fredericks. He is a big forward who plays a heavy game, but he has also shown the ability to provide quality depth scoring each of the last two seasons. He had 40 points and I believe 30 or 31 points. He's having a bit of a down year this year. He is on pace for, I believe, 21-ish points this season. So he is having a bit of a down year. He is a UFA after this season. So if the Buffalo Sabres wanted to bolster their bottom six, obviously this past season it didn't work out. They tried to add Nicholas Aube-Kubel. He's playing in the AHL. They tried to add Sam Lafferty. He has just been atrocious. The only one that has been at least somewhat serviceable in the bottom six of this Buffalo Sabres forward group is Beck Malenstein. However, if you were to, again, move on from Dylan Cousins, you could move McLeod up to that second line center. You could then put Trent Fredericks into that third line center, and he could potentially provide anywhere from 25 to 35 points. Again, giving Buffalo not just physicality, not just a guy who can protect his teammates, but also some scoring depth, something that the Sabres seemingly have not had for the last several years, relying heavily on their top six to get things done. Once again, he is a UFA. So it would give the Buffalo Sabres the rest of the season and up until July 1st to try to get Fredericks signed. Him having a down year, it shouldn't take a lot in terms of trade value to pry him away from the Boston Bruins team. And realistically, if the Sabres even had to overpay him, it likely would cost less than $3 million per season to get him to potentially sign back with this Buffalo Sabres team for at least a couple of years as the Sabres try to avoid yet another rebuild. Honestly, it appears that the Buffalo Sabres are closer to that rebuild than being a playoff contender, but it appears, at least from the outside, that they will likely give it at least one more shot with this core group of players before they potentially make any incredibly major changes. That includes trading Alex Tuch. That includes J.J. Peterka. That even includes Tage Thompson. It appears the Buffalo Sabres believe in this core, and they need to bolster it because it has been shown that they are simply not good enough by themselves. In the last few seasons, they are not anywhere close to the playoff picture outside of that magical run a few years ago. But again, they are closer to a rebuild than they are to an NHL playoff contender. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. Is there anybody that the Buffalo Sabres could potentially go after that could help them not just in prospects and draft picks, but in a true NHL player that the Sabres could get this season and into next season? Obviously, it couldn't be a playoff contending team. They would have to go after somebody also in the bottom rungs of the NHL, somebody that is maybe they're looking to potentially rebuild themselves. That's pretty much going to do it for this episode, guys. Remember to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you guys never miss a video. I talk Bills, Sabres, and the University at Buffalo men's basketball and football teams right here on this page. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, have a fantastic week.